Everyone thought the new girl would be quiet, harmless, forgettable. But behind Mia's calm eyes hid years of pain, discipline, and a strength forged in ways no one here could imagine. She had promised herself she would never fight again, not after what happened before. Yet, when the first cruel shove came and mocking laughter echoed in the hallway, something inside her stirred. This was not fear. This was the moment she had been trying to avoid. It was only her second day at Ridgewood High. She kept her head down, gripping her worn backpack, hoping to blend in. But the world has a way of finding the smallest wounds and pressing on them. 3 girls, dressed in perfect smiles and sharpened words, stepped into her path. "Hey, new girl," one of them said sweetly. "You lost or just stupid?" The words stabbed sharper than they sounded. Mia froze, remembering another place, another time, where taunts like these had ended in blood and bruises. Her books slipped from her arms. Another girl kicked them aside, giggling. "Oops, better pick those up." The crowd grew, their whispers a storm around her. But Mia did not move, not yet. Her heart was steady, her jaw set. She had spent years training to control this part of herself. But then, one of them grabbed her arm, and the line she had promised never to cross began to blur. Mia's arm stiffened under the girl's grip. Her mind flashed back to a dimly lit training hall, the smell of sweat and leather, the echo of her coach's voice. "Patience is power, Mia. Let them make the first mistake." She exhaled slowly, trying to let it go. She could still walk away. But the laughter around her was growing louder. Phones were out now, ready to film the fun. One girl leaned close, her perfume thick and cloying. "What's wrong? Scared?" Another shoved her again, harder this time. The books scattered further. A pencil rolled to the feet of a boy watching from the edge. He glanced at Mia's face, and for a split second, his smirk vanished. Her expression was not fear. It was calculation. Mia bent down, not to pick up her things, but to tighten the laces on her worn sneakers. She straightened slowly, her shoulders squaring, her eyes locked on the ringleader, calm, unblinking. The hallway's noise seemed to fade, as if the world knew what was about to happen. The lead bully stepped forward, about to push her again. That was the mistake. Mia moved faster than anyone could process. Her hand caught the bully's wrist midair. Gasps erupted. The girl tried to jerk free, but Mia's grip was unyielding, precise, almost surgical. "You should let go," Mia said softly, her voice steady, but carrying a weight that made the crowd fall silent. And for the first time, the bullies realized they were in trouble.
The hallway had gone eerily quiet. Mia's hand still held the ringleader's wrist, her grip steady, but her eyes told another story. They were not wild with anger. They were cold, steady, the kind of eyes you only saw on someone who had been through real battles. The ringleader tried to yank her hand away. "Let me go," she hissed. But there was a tremor in her voice now. Mia's heart was pounding, not from fear, but from the fight she was waging inside herself, the fight to hold back. She could end this in seconds. But once she crossed that line, there was no turning back. Another shove hit her shoulder. Her breath caught, and for a flash, she saw a different scene. Years ago, a dusty training mat, her father standing with folded arms. His voice echoed in her head. "Do not fight to hurt. Fight to protect." The second shove came harder. That was the moment her choice was made. She moved like a shadow breaking free of the light, twisting the ringleader's arm just enough to send her stumbling sideways. The metallic crash of the lockers rang through the hall. Gasps rose from the crowd, followed by a stunned silence. The second girl lunged, but Mia stepped aside with a dancer's precision. A simple sweep of her foot, and the bully collapsed to the floor with a shocked cry. Phones were trembling in hands now, not from laughter, but from the realization that this was no ordinary fight. Mia's breathing was slow, controlled. Every movement was deliberate, not to humiliate, but to send a message. She was not prey. The last girl froze, eyes darting between her friends on the floor and the girl who had taken them down without breaking a sweat. "This isn't who I want to be," Mia said quietly. "But you made me remember who I am." And then, from the end of the hallway, heavy footsteps approached. The crowd parted. The one person who could change everything was walking straight toward Mia. The footsteps echoed louder with every step. Students whispered in hushed tones, eyes flicking between Mia and the figure approaching. It was Coach Daniels, the head of the school's martial arts program, a tall, broad man whose presence could quiet a stadium. But his eyes were not angry. They were searching, almost stunned. He stopped just a few feet from her. "Mia?" he said slowly, as if he could not believe what he was seeing. "Mia Cole." The crowd held its breath. Her hands loosened at her sides. "Hello, Coach," she said softly. The bullies exchanged confused glances. Coach Daniels turned toward the circle of students. "You have no idea who you've just been messing with. Mia is a national youth champion, one of the most disciplined fighters I have ever trained. She could have hurt you, badly, but she chose not to." A ripple of shock moved through the crowd. The bully shifted uncomfortably, suddenly realizing this was not just some quiet new girl. This was someone who had been trained to win fights most people would run from. Coach Daniels looked back at Mia. "I thought you quit competing," he said gently. "I did," she replied. Her voice was steady, but there was a sadness underneath. "I promised myself I would never fight again unless I had no choice." She glanced toward the girls still frozen near the lockers. "Today, they gave me no choice." The hallway was silent except for the sound of a phone clicking off somewhere in the crowd. The ringleader swallowed hard. We didn't know," she stammered. "That's the problem. You never know what someone has been through or what they're capable of. You just see a target." The crowd slowly began to break apart. The bullies slipped away without another word, their arrogance shattered. Mia bent to gather her books, and Coach Daniels placed a hand on her shoulder. "You did well," he said quietly. "Not for how you fought, but for how you stopped yourself." And as Mia walked down the hallway, the whispers followed her, but now they carried something new. Not mockery, not pity, but respect.